example 2.12, the side of the building and the figure below is subjected to a wind loading that creates a uniform normal pressure of 1.5 kilopascal on the windward side and the suction pressure of 0.5 kilopascal on the leeward side. Determine the horizontal and vertical components of reaction at the pin connection A, B, and C of the supporting cable arch. So kung makikita natin dito, this is the direction of the wind. So yung side na nandun si member AB is the windward side. And the side kung saan natin makikita si member BC is on the leeward side. So based sa previous topic natin sa tributary loading, yung load ay paghahatian ng magkabilang supports. So this load will be carried by the end. So this load ay mapupunta doon. And this load ay mapupunta dito. In order for us to compute for the magnitude of the uniformly distributed load on the windward side, kung babalikan natin sa problem, we have the uniform normal pressure of 1.5 kilopascal on the windward side and the suction pressure of 0.5 kilopascal sa leeward side. So yung normal pressure natin dito sa windward side natin is 1.5 kilopascal and yung suction pressure at the leeward side is equal to 0.5 kilopascal. So in order for us to compute for the magnitude of the uniformly distributed load on the windward side, so what we have to do is titingnan natin dito anong width ba yung kinakarga nung member AB and the member BC. We have here 4 kilonewton span, so meaning half of the load will be carried nung end support sa kabila and half of the load will be carried ng support dito sa kabilang side. So meaning the total length na kakargahin ng member AB and the member BC is equal to 4 meters. So we will multiply that distance sa pressure 1.5 kilopascal, so that's 1.5 kilonewton per square meter multiplied by the distance of 4 meters, and that would give us 6 kilonewton per meter na magnitude ng uniformly distributed load dito sa windward side. Itong uniformly distributed load natin will have the magnitude of 6 kilonewton per meter. And this is 6 kilonewton per meter. And on the leeward side, so we have suction pressure of 0.5 kilopascal. So that's 0.5 kilonewton per square meter multiplied by the length of 4 meters, and that is equal to 2 kilonewton per meter. So meaning yung magnitude ng uniformly distributed on the leeward side is equal to 2 kilonewton per meter, and this is 2 kilonewton per meter. So we will assume that this is the direction of AY and this is AX, and CY directed upward, CX is directed to the left. Now, in order for us to solve for the value of the AY, what we have to do is to summate moment at point C, and in solving the value of the CY, we have to summate moment at point A. So, si CY na lang isosolve natin. Summation of moment at point A is equal to 0, taking the clockwise direction as positive. Now, kung titingnan natin dito, we would have the resultant of our uniformly distributed loads. So since ito ay may height na 3 meters, so that would give us 6 times 3, so this is 18 kilonewton. And for this, we have to compute for the diagonal, since this is equal to 3 meters and this is 3 meters, so meaning yung diagonal has the length of 3 square root of 2. So multiplying the value of 6 by 3 square root of 2, that would give us 25.46 kilonewton. So since this is a 45-degree angle, meaning this would have the vertical component 25.46 kilonewton multiplied by sine of 45 degrees, and here we have 25.46 cosine of 45 degrees. So para naman dito kay member BC, we would have here the resultant of 2 kilonewton per meter multiplied by the height of 3 meters, so that is 6 kilonewton. And for this, so since sabi ko nga kanina, this length here is 3 square root of 2, so in computing for the area, it is just the magnitude of the load, 2 kilonewton per meter multiplied by 3 square root of 2, and that would give us 8.49 kilonewton. So for the components, we would have here 8.49 if this is the angle theta, so 8.49 cosine of 45 degrees, and for the vertical component, we have here 8.49 sine of 45 degrees. So going back sa equation natin kanina, if we are going to summate moment at point A, so that would give us 18 kilonewton multiplied by the distance, half nung height na 3 meters, so that is 1.5 meter, plus itong 6 kilonewton will create a clockwise rotation also, so 6 multiplied by the height of 1.5 plus yung horizontal component ng 6 kilonewton per meter na naka-inclined, so that is 25.46. Since pareho sila ng height ng 8.49 cosine 45 na component, horizontal component nung 8.49 sa leeward side natin, so therefore pwede na natin silang pagsamahin. That's plus 8.49 multiplied by cosine 45 and the perpendicular distance, which is 3 plus half of 3 meters, so that is ito yung perpendicular distance niya, that is 4.5 meters, plus this component 25.46 sine of 45 multiplied with the perpendicular distance. Ang perpendicular distance niya ay ito, that is just half of 3 meters, so that is 1.5 meter. And This component will create a counterclockwise rotation, so minus 8.49 sine of 45 multiplied by the perpendicular distance. So ito naman yung perpendicular distance niya, that is equal to 4.5 meters. The CY will create a counterclockwise rotation, so that's minus CY multiplied by the perpendicular distance of 6 meters is equal to 0. So computing for the value of the CY is equal to 24 kilonewton. Since positive yung lumabas na sagot, therefore tama yung assumption that 24 kilonewton is directed upward. And in order for us to solve for the vertical reaction at the support A, so we have to summate forces vertical is equal to 0, taking the upward direction as positive. So AY, in-assume natin na siya ay upward, so that's positive, minus itong vertical component ni 25.46, that's 25.46 sine of 45, plus the vertical component of 8.49, that's 8.49 kilonewton sine of 45, and the CY directed upwards, so that's positive 24 kilonewton is equal to 0. Computing for the value of the AY is equal to negative 12 kilonewton. Since negative yung lumabas na sagot, meaning mali yung assumption natin, AY is not directed upward, it is directed downward. So this is 12 kilonewton. Kontrahin lang natin yung assumption natin. This is directed downward. Now, if we are going to have our free body diagram for the member AB and the member BC, so ganito yung magiging itsura niya. For the member AB, we have here the resultant of 25.46 kilonewton and the components, which is 25.46 sine of 45 and 25.46 cosine of 45 degrees. And for the resultant here, we have 18 kilonewton. And since na-compute na natin yung reaction for AY, which is 12 kilonewton downward, so this is equal to 12 kilonewton. And AX assumed directed to the right. Para sa reaction at point P for the member BC, kung makikita natin dito sa member AB natin, BX is directed to the left, so kukontrahin lang natin siya dito sa BC. We will assume here that BX is directed to the right. And for BY, since in the member AB, siya ay directed upward, dito sa BC, siya ay directed downward. And for the reaction at support C, so since we already have computed for the value of the CY, that is 24 kilonewton directed upward, and CX is assumed directed to the left. Para sa loads natin, if this is the resultant with the value of 8.49 kilonewton, so meron nitong dalawang components. This is the vertical component, which is 8.49 kilonewton sine of 45 degrees, and we have here the horizontal component, which is 8.49 kilonewton cosine of 45 degrees. And sa resultant natin dito, which is the magnitude of 6 kilonewton. So for the member AB, in order for us to solve for the value of AX, what we are going to do is to summate moment at point B. So summation of moment at point B is equal to 0, taking the clockwise direction as positive. So we would have 18 kilonewton that will create a counterclockwise rotation. So negative 18 multiplied by the distance of 4.5. So that's 4.5 meters. And the horizontal component of 25.46 will create a counterclockwise rotation also. So that's negative 25.46 cosine of 45 multiplied by the distance of 1.5 kasi half of 3 meters na height. And the vertical component of 25.46 will create a counterclockwise rotation. So that's negative 25.46 sine of 45 multiplied by the perpendicular distance, which is 1.5, kalahati ng 3. And the AX will create a counterclockwise rotation. So we have minus AX as the distance of 6 meters. So AX multiplied by the distance of 6 meters. 12 kilonewton will create a counterclockwise rotation. So that is negative 12 multiplied by the distance of 3 meters. That is equal to 0. AX is negative 28.5 kilonewton. So since negative yung lumabas na sagot, meaning AX is not directed to the right, AX is directed to the left. In order for us to solve for the vertical reaction, so we have to summate forces vertical is equal to 0, taking the upward direction as positive. We have negative 12 kilonewton, the vertical component of 25.46, that's negative since it is directed downward. 25.46 sine of 45, and by directed upward, so it's positive. This is equal to 0. So solving for the value of by is equal to 30 kilonewton. Since positive yung lumabas na sagot, tama yung assumption natin that by is directed upward. Solving for the value of the bx, we have to summate forces horizontal is equal to 0, taking the direction to the right as positive. We have ax directed to the left, so that is negative 28.5 plus 18, since 18 is directed to the right. The horizontal component of 25.46 directed to the right, so that is positive 25.46 cosine of 45, and bx directed to the left, so that is negative. So this is equal to 0. Solving for the value of bx is equal to 7.5 kilonewton. Since positive yung lumabas na sagot, tama yung assumption that bx is directed to the left. Okay, since we already had computed for the value of the bx and the by, ta-transfer lang natin siya sa kabila. Bx is 7.5 since tama naman yung direction natin sa member AB, so tama rin yung direction natin dito sa member BC. This is 7.5 kN directed to the right. And si BY, tama naman yung assumption natin sa member AB, that is upward, so downward siya dito sa member BC. And this is equal to 30 kN. Now, considering the member BC, makikita natin dito na CCX na lang yung unknown natin. So, in order for us to compute for the value of the CX, we have to summate forces horizontal is equal to 0, taking the direction to the right as positive. So, as we can see here, the BX is directed to the right, so we have positive 7.5 kN plus the horizontal component of 8.49, that is 8.49 cosine of 45 plus 6 kN directed to the right minus the CX is equal to 0. So solving for the value of CX, we have 19.5 kN. Since positive yung lumabas na sagot, meaning tama yung assumption natin that CX is directed to the left. So, in order for us to check whether the system is in equilibrium or not, so for the purpose of checking, we can summate forces vertical, that should be equal to 0. So, summation of forces vertical is equal to 0, taking the upward direction as positive. So, the vertical forces are the BY, the vertical component of 8.49, and the reaction CY. So, BY is directed downward, so that's negative 30 plus the vertical component of 8.49, it is 8.49 sine of 45 plus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, for checking, so we have negative 30 plus 8.49 sine of 45 plus 24, that is equal to 0.003, so approximately 0. So we have here 0 is equal to 0. So meaning the system is in equilibrium.